The telephone rings in a villa overlooking the English Channel. It's 4:30 in the morning, June 6, 1944. Generaloberst Alfred Jodl, Chief of Operations for the German Armed Forces High Command, answers. The voice on the other end reports massive Allied naval activity off the Normandy coast. Paratroopers are landing. This might be it, the invasion. Jodl hangs up and faces a decision that will haunt him for the rest of his life. Should he wake the Führer? Adolf Hitler is asleep in his bedroom at the Berghof, his mountain retreat near Berchtesgaden in the Bavarian Alps, more than 1,000 kilometers from the French coast. He went to bed around 3 in the morning after watching a film and talking with his staff until the early hours, as he does most nights. His sleep schedule is sacred. His secretaries know it. His adjutants know it. His generals know it. You do not wake Adolf Hitler unless the Reich itself is burning. Jodl makes his choice. He does not call the Berghof. The invasion of Europe begins without the supreme commander of German forces being informed. The sun rises over Normandy. American soldiers wade through the surf at Omaha Beach, cut down by machine gun fire from the bluffs above. British troops push inland from Gold and Sword beaches. Canadians fight through Juno. At Point du Hoc, Rangers scale cliffs under fire. Thousands of men die in the surf, on the sand, in the hedgerows beyond. The largest amphibious invasion in human history unfolds across 80 kilometers of French coastline. Hitler sleeps. Generaloberst Alfred Jodl waits. He watches reports accumulate. 5 distinct landing zones. Thousands of ships. This is not a raid. This is not a diversion. But Jodl has learned, through bitter experience, that the Führer's intuition must be respected. Hitler has been saying for months that the real invasion will come at the Pas de Calais, the narrowest point of the English Channel, where the distance from England is only 33 kilometers. Normandy, Hitler has insisted, is too far from any major port. The Allies would never risk it. So Jodl waits. He does not wake Hitler. He does not authorize the release of the Panzer divisions held in reserve around Paris. Those divisions, the 12th SS Panzer Division, Hitlerjugend, and Panzer Lehr Division, are the only mobile forces capable of reaching the beaches quickly enough to throw the Allies back into the sea. But they are part of OKW Reserve, which means they cannot move without Hitler's personal authorization. The morning passes. The beachheads expand. German commanders in Normandy scream into telephones, begging for armor, for reinforcements, for permission to counterattack. The panzers sit idle. Hitler wakes around 10 in the morning. He bathes, dresses, takes breakfast. An aide mentions that there has been some action in Normandy, heavy fighting, Allied landings. Hitler waves it away. So they've come, he says. His voice carries no alarm. He has been expecting this. Not here, of course. The real invasion will still come at Calais. This is obviously a diversion, meant to draw German forces away from the real target. He has seen through it. The Allies are trying to trick him, but he is too clever for them. He does not rush to the map room. He does not demand immediate briefings. He finishes his breakfast. He meets with his architect, Hermann Giesler, to discuss post-war building plans for Linz. The city must be rebuilt as a cultural capital, a monument to German civilization. They examine drawings. Hitler suggests modifications. Outside, men are dying by the hundreds on French beaches, but Hitler is redesigning opera houses. The first detailed briefing comes in the early afternoon. General Feldmarschall Wilhelm Keitel, Chief of the Armed Forces High Command, presents the situation. 5 landing zones. Airborne drops. Preliminary estimates suggest 60,000 troops already ashore, with more coming every hour. The Atlantic Wall has been breached in multiple locations. Hitler listens. He nods. Then he explains why this changes nothing. The Allies have fallen into a trap, he says. They have committed themselves to the wrong location. When the real invasion comes at Calais, they will not have sufficient forces. We will destroy them there. Keitel hesitates. The reports from Normandy are catastrophic. The Allies are not acting like this is a diversion. They are pouring everything into this assault. Mein Führer, Keitel says carefully. The commanders in Normandy are requesting the Panzer reserves. If we move now, we can still... No, Hitler's voice hardens. The Panzers stay where they are. I will not be deceived by this obvious feint. When Calais comes, I want those divisions fresh and ready. The afternoon dissolves into evening. The Allied beachheads connect. Engineers blow gaps in the seawall. Tanks roll off landing craft. Supplies pile up on the sand. The invasion that Hitler dismissed as a diversion has put 155,000 men ashore by nightfall. The Panzers still have not moved. General Oberst Heinz Guderian, Inspector General of Armored Troops, arrives at the Berghof that evening for a previously scheduled conference on tank production. He finds Hitler in a strange mood, almost euphoric. The Führer is convinced he has just witnessed the Allies make a fatal strategic error. They have done exactly what I predicted they would not do, Hitler tells Guderian. They have landed far from any major port. They have no harbor facilities. They cannot sustain this operation. In a few days, when their supplies run out, we will push them back into the sea. Guderian, who has spent 3 years watching Hitler's military intuition lead to disaster after disaster on the Eastern Front, says nothing. He has learned that arguing with the Führer is pointless. Hitler does not debate. He pronounces, and those who contradict him too vigorously find themselves relieved of command. But Guderian cannot stay silent about the Panzers. Mein Führer, if we are to counterattack effectively, we must release the armored reserves now. Every hour we wait allows the enemy to strengthen his positions. Hitler shakes his head. Patience, Guderian. Patience. Let them commit more forces to Normandy. When Calais comes, they will have nothing left to stop us there. And if Calais does not come, Hitler's face darkens. It will come. I know it will come. June 7th arrives. The Allies have not been pushed back into the sea. They have expanded their beachheads. They are moving inland. German casualties are mounting. The requests for Panzer support become desperate. Hitler finally authorizes the release of some armored units, but it is late afternoon on the second day of the invasion. The 12th SS Panzer Division begins moving toward Caen. Panzer Lehr Division moves toward Bayeux. They travel in daylight because Hitler has ordered them to reach the front quickly. Allied fighter bombers fall on them like wolves. The roads become graveyards of burning tanks and trucks. Panzer Lehr loses 5 tanks, 84 half-tracks, and 130 trucks before it even reaches the battle. Its commander, General Lieutenant Fritz Bayerlein, will later say that the march to Normandy was more costly than some battles he fought in North Africa. The divisions that do reach the front arrive piecemeal, exhausted, under strength. They launch counterattacks but cannot coordinate them. The Allies have air supremacy. Every German movement is spotted, reported, bombed. The counterattacks fail. Hitler receives these reports with growing irritation. The problem, he decides, is not his delay in releasing the Panzers. The problem is that his generals are not attacking with sufficient will. They are too cautious, too defensive-minded. They have been infected with defeatism after 3 years of retreating in Russia. Tell them to attack harder, he orders. Tell them to throw the enemy back into the sea. This is not complicated. Attack, attack, attack. The days accumulate. June 8th. June 9th, June 10th. The Allies do not collapse. They do not run out of supplies. They bring more men, more tanks, more artillery. They construct artificial harbors called mulberries, solving the port problem that Hitler insisted would doom them. They lay fuel pipelines under the English Channel. They turn the Normandy beaches into the largest supply depot in the world. And still, Hitler waits for Calais. Generaloberst Hans von Salmuth, commander of 15th Army defending the Pas de Calais, has 19 divisions sitting idle, watching an empty sea. Hitler will not let him move them to Normandy. The real invasion is coming to Calais. It must be. Hitler's intuition cannot be wrong. By June 12th, even Hitler's closest advisors are beginning to doubt. The Allies have linked all 5 beachheads into a continuous front. They have put more than 326,000 men ashore. They are pushing toward Cherbourg, toward Caen, toward the interior of France. This is not a diversion. This is the invasion. But Hitler cannot admit error. To admit he was wrong about Calais would be to admit fallibility. And the myth of Hitler's infallibility is the cornerstone of his authority. He does not make mistakes. Reality makes mistakes. Reality fails to conform to his vision, and when it does, reality must be corrected through willpower and determination. So Hitler doubles down. They are still coming to Calais, he insists. This is a preliminary operation. The main blow is yet to fall. On June 13th, the first V-1 flying bombs begin hitting London. Hitler has been promising these weapons for months. They are his answer to Allied air superiority. They will break British morale. They will force Churchill to negotiate. They will change everything. Hitler seizes on the V-weapons as proof that he still controls the situation. Let them have their beachhead in Normandy, he tells his staff. We will rain fire on London. We will destroy their cities. They will beg for peace. But the V-1s are not miracle weapons. They are crude, inaccurate cruise missiles. Many crash into the English Channel. Many more hit empty fields. Those that reach London kill civilians but do not break British resolve. Churchill does not beg for peace. The bombers keep coming. The invasion keeps expanding. June 17th. Hitler finally agrees to leave the Berghof. He will fly to France to meet with his commanders in Normandy. But he will not go to Normandy itself. He will not visit the front. He will meet his generals at a bunker complex near Margival, north of Soissons, more than 160 kilometers from the fighting. The bunker was built in 1940 for the planned invasion of England. Hitler has not been there since 1940. It is damp, musty, infested with rats. But it is far enough from the coast that Hitler's security staff considers it safe. General Feldmarschall Erwin Rommel arrives first. He has been commanding Army Group B in Normandy since before the invasion. He has watched his defensive plans unravel. He has watched the Panzers arrive too late and too weak. He has watched the Luftwaffe fail to appear. He has watched the Allies build up combat power faster than he can bring reinforcements forwards. He knows the battle is lost. The question now is whether Hitler can be made to understand that. General Feldmarschall Gerd von Rundstedt arrives next. He is Commander-in-Chief West, technically Rommel's superior, though Hitler often bypasses him to give orders directly to Rommel. Rundstedt is 70 years old, a Prussian aristocrat of the old school. He has been advocating for a strategic withdrawal to a more defensible line. Hitler has rejected this repeatedly. Rundstedt expects to be relieved of command. He has already prepared his resignation letter. Hitler arrives by car from a nearby airfield. He looks tired. His left hand trembles slightly, a tic that has been worsening for months, but his voice is strong when he greets his field marshals. So, gentlemen, what is the situation? They move into the bunker. Maps are spread on tables. Rommel begins the briefing. He is direct, almost blunt. The Allies have 750,000 men ashore. They control a beachhead 80 kilometers wide and 15 to 30 kilometers deep. They are attacking toward Cherbourg and toward Caen. German forces are outnumbered, outgunned, and paralyzed by Allied air power. Every daylight movement is suicide. Supplies cannot reach the front. Reinforcements are being destroyed en route. The situation is, Rommel says carefully, very serious. Hitler listens without interruption. Then he speaks. The situation is not as bad as you think, he says. You are too close to the fighting. You see only the difficulties. I see the larger picture. The Allies have overextended themselves. They have committed their forces to a position where we can destroy them. We will counterattack. We will drive them back to the sea. Rommel tries to explain that counterattack is impossible. There are no reserves. The panzers are burned out. The infantry divisions are being ground down. Air superiority makes massing forces suicidal. Hitler cuts him off. You lack faith, Rommel. You have become infected with the defeatism that is rotting this army. We will counterattack because I order it. That is sufficient. Rundstedt speaks up. Mein Führer, we must consider a strategic withdrawal to the Seine. We can establish a stronger defensive line there, preserve our forces, and withdraw. Hitler's voice rises. You want to give up French territory without a fight? You want to abandon the Atlantic Wall? Never. We do not withdraw. We hold every meter of ground. We make them pay for every centimeter. But mein Führer, Rommel says, if we do not withdraw, we will lose the entire army. We will be encircled and destroyed. Better to fall back while we still can, preserve our strength and what? Hitler snaps. Fall back to where? The Rhine? Berlin? There is no line behind this line. There is no position more defensible than the one you hold now. If you cannot stop them here, you cannot stop them anywhere. So you will stop them here. You will hold. You will counterattack. You will throw them into the sea. The meeting deteriorates. Rommel argues for flexibility. Hitler demands rigidity. Rundstedt suggests withdrawing from Cherbourg before the garrison is trapped. Hitler orders Cherbourg held to the last man. The fortress will be held at all costs, he says. Every day they spend capturing Cherbourg is a day they are not advancing inland. The garrison will fight until they run out of ammunition. Then they will fight with their bare hands. Rommel tries one more time. Mein Führer, I must speak plainly. We cannot win this battle. The disparity in forces is too great. If we continue as we are, the entire Western Front will collapse. We must seek a political solution. We must negotiate while we still have an army capable of... Negotiate? Hitler's face flushes. Negotiate with whom? With the Jews and Bolsheviks who want to destroy Germany. With Churchill, who has sworn to crush us. With Roosevelt, who demands unconditional surrender. There is nothing to negotiate. We fight until we win or until we die. Those are the only options. The meeting ends badly. Hitler returns to Berchtesgaden. Rommel and Rundstedt return to France, shaken. They have just witnessed a man completely detached from reality, giving orders to an army that no longer exists, planning counterattacks with divisions that have been destroyed, expecting miracles from weapons that do not work. On the drive back to his headquarters, Rommel tells his aide, "That man is mad. He's living in a fantasy world. He has no idea what is happening at the front." But Rommel's opinion no longer matters. Only Hitler's orders matter. And Hitler has ordered them to hold, to counterattack, to win. Cherbourg falls on June 26th after a week of house-to-house fighting. Hitler is furious. He wanted the garrison to hold for months. He wanted them to die in the rubble. Instead, they surrendered after their ammunition ran out and their water supply was cut off. He considers this cowardice. He orders that future garrison commanders be told explicitly that surrender is not an option. They will be shot if they attempt it. But Hitler does not speak publicly about Cherbourg's fall. He does not address the German people about Normandy at all. He gives no speeches explaining the situation. He issues no proclamations of defiance. His silence is deafening. The German people, who have grown accustomed to Hitler's voice on the radio explaining every crisis, hear nothing. They read the Wehrmacht communiques reporting heavy defensive fighting in Normandy and understand that the invasion has succeeded. In private, Hitler's statements become increasingly detached from reality. He talks about new Panzer divisions being formed in Germany, divisions that exist only on paper. He talks about jet aircraft that will sweep the skies clear of Allied bombers, aircraft that are months away from operational deployment. He talks about V-2 rockets that will devastate London, rockets that are still being tested. Most of all, he talks about will. The side with the strongest will shall win, he tells his staff. The Allies do not have the stomach for a long fight. They are soft, they are democratic, they will lose their nerve, we will outlast them through sheer determination. Generaloberst Alfred Jodl, who made the decision not to wake Hitler on June 6th, watches his Führer with growing horror. Jodl is a loyal Nazi, a true believer. But even he can see that Hitler has lost touch with reality. The Führer is making decisions based not on the actual military situation, but on what he wishes the situation to be. On July 1st, Rundstedt is relieved of command. Hitler replaces him with Generalfeldmarschall Günther von Kluge, who arrives from the Eastern Front with orders to stabilize Normandy. Kluge is confident at first. He believes the situation can be salvaged. He has not yet experienced the reality of fighting under Allied air supremacy with inadequate forces and no freedom to maneuver. Within 2 weeks, Kluge is sending the same reports Rundstedt sent. The situation is hopeless. Withdrawal is necessary. The army will be destroyed if it stays in Normandy. Hitler's response is identical to what he told Rundstedt. Hold! Counterattack! Win! July 17th. Rommel is critically wounded when Allied fighters strafe his staff car. He survives, but is out of the war. 3 days later, on July 20th, a bomb explodes in Hitler's conference room at the Wolf's Lair in East Prussia. The briefcase bomb, placed by Colonel Klaus von Stauffenberg, fails to kill Hitler, but kills 4 others and wounds many more. Hitler survives with burst eardrums, burns, and a reinforced conviction that Providence has saved him for a reason. The failed assassination attempt gives Hitler an explanation for everything that has gone wrong. It is not his fault that Normandy is failing. It is sabotage. It is treason. The army is riddled with traitors who have been deliberately undermining his orders. This is why the counterattacks failed. This is why the panzers were too slow. This is why his generals kept advocating withdrawal. They were trying to lose the war. Hitler orders a purge. Thousands are arrested. Dozens of officers are executed, including some who had nothing to do with the plot. Rommel, recovering from his wounds, is given a choice: public trial and execution, or suicide with a state funeral and protection for his family. He chooses suicide. On October 14th, he takes poison. The official announcement says he died of his wounds from the air attack. But in late July, Rommel is still alive, and Normandy is still collapsing. The Americans break out of the bocage at Saint-Lô. Operation Cobra sends 3 armored divisions racing through a gap blown open by carpet bombing. The German front disintegrates. Units that Hitler ordered to hold to the last man retreat in chaos. The roads are clogged with burning vehicles, abandoned equipment, dead horses, and exhausted soldiers. Hitler orders a counterattack. He orders Kluge to gather 8 panzer divisions and strike west toward Avranches, cutting off the American breakthrough. It is a fantasy. There are not 8 functional panzer divisions in all of Normandy. The divisions that do exist are scattered, under strength and low on fuel. But Hitler insists. He draws arrows on maps. He calculates tonnages and timetables. He plans the counterattack in detail, as if the forces he is ordering around actually exist in the strength and condition he imagines. Operation Lüttich begins on August 7th. 4 depleted panzer divisions attack toward Mortagne. They advance a few kilometers. Then Allied fighter bombers appear at dawn. The Jabos, as German soldiers call them, destroy the panzers in their assembly areas. The counterattack collapses before it truly begins. The divisions that Hitler committed to this offensive are now trapped in a pocket forming around Falaise. Kluge begs for permission to withdraw. Hitler refuses. The attack will continue, he orders. Throw in more forces. Break through to Avranches. There are no more forces. The panzers are burning hulks. The infantry is scattered. The pocket is closing. On August 15th, Kluge writes a final letter to Hitler. In it, he explains that the situation in Normandy is lost. He explains that the army has fought with courage and determination, but has been overwhelmed by superior forces and material. He suggests that Hitler consider ending the war before Germany is completely destroyed. Then Klug takes poison. He dies before the letter reaches Hitler. Hitler reads the letter with contempt. Another defeatist, another traitor, another general who lacked the will to win. The Falaise Pocket closes on August 21st. 50,000 German soldiers are captured. 10,000 are dead. The roads through the pocket are choked with corpses, human and animal, rotting in the summer heat. The destruction is so complete that Allied soldiers will remember the smell for the rest of their lives. Hitler does not acknowledge Falaise. He does not mention it in his orders. He does not discuss it with his staff. He simply issues new orders for new counterattacks with new divisions that do not exist. Paris falls on August 25th. Hitler had ordered it held as a fortress. He had ordered the bridges over the Seine destroyed, the city burned if necessary. General Lieutenant Dietrich von Koltitz, the garrison commander, ignores these orders and surrenders the city intact. When Hitler learns of this, he rages. "Is Paris burning?" he demands. He wanted Paris destroyed. He wanted the Allies to inherit ruins. Instead, they inherit the most beautiful city in Europe, undamaged. By the end of August, the Allies have liberated all of France north of the Loire. They are approaching the German border. The invasion that Hitler dismissed as a diversion on June 6th has destroyed Army Group B, liberated France, and brought the war to the threshold of the Reich itself. And Hitler still insists it could have been stopped. In his orders, in his rants to his staff, he returns again and again to the same theme. If only his generals had attacked harder, if only the Panzers had moved faster, if only the Luftwaffe had fought better, if only the traitors had not sabotaged his plans. The failure is never his. The failure is always someone else's. In September, Hitler approves a desperate plan. Generalfeldmarschall Walter Model, who replaced Klug after his suicide, proposes gathering all available armor for one massive counteroffensive. Not in Normandy, which is lost, but in the Ardennes, where the Americans have thinly stretched their lines. One powerful blow could split the Allied front, recapture Antwerp, and change the course of the war. It is the same fantasy Hitler has been indulging since June 6th. One more attack, one more effort of will. One more miracle. The Ardennes offensive will come in December. It will fail, like all the others. But in September, planning for it, Hitler is energized. He has a new plan. He has a new hope. He has convinced himself, once again, that willpower can overcome material reality. On September 16th, Hitler issues a proclamation to the troops in the West. It is his first public statement about the Normandy campaign. In it, he does not mention defeat. He does not mention Falaise or Paris or the retreat across France. Instead, he talks about the coming victory. "Soldiers of the Western Front," he writes, "the enemy believes he has won. He believes Germany is beaten. He is wrong. We are preparing a blow that will astonish the world. New weapons are coming. New divisions are forming. The tide will turn. We will throw the enemy back across the Rhine. We will reconquer France. We will achieve final victory." It is pure delusion. There are no new superweapons. The new divisions are made up of old men and boys. The tide will not turn. But Hitler believes it because he must believe it. To admit defeat is to admit that his entire worldview is wrong, that his racial theories are false, that his strategic genius is a myth. He cannot do that. So he retreats further into fantasy, issuing orders to armies that no longer exist, planning offensives with forces that cannot be assembled, promising victories that cannot be won. In October, a staff officer asks Hitler what he will do if the Ardennes offensive fails. Hitler looks at him coldly. "It will not fail," he says. "I have decided it will succeed. Therefore, it will succeed. That is all you need to know." This is what Hitler said when the invasion could no longer be reversed. Not, "We have lost," not, "We must negotiate," not, "We must save what we can." He said, "Attack harder, hold longer, will it to be different." He said it on June 6th when he refused to wake up for the invasion. He said it on June 17th when he ordered Cherbourg held to the last man. He said it in July when he ordered the Mortain counterattack. He said it in August when he ordered Paris burned. He said it in September when he planned the Ardennes offensive. He said it until the end, until Soviet shells were falling on the Reich Chancellery, until he was hiding in a bunker under Berlin, still moving phantom armies on maps, still ordering counterattacks by divisions that had ceased to exist, still insisting that willpower would triumph over reality. The invasion became irreversible on June 6, 1944, probably within the first few hours. But Hitler never admitted it. He never said the words, "We have lost Normandy." He never acknowledged that his intuition about Calais was wrong, that his delay in releasing the Panzers was catastrophic, that his refusal to allow withdrawals doomed his army. Instead, he blamed everyone else. He blamed his generals for lacking will. He blamed the Luftwaffe for failing to control the skies. He blamed the traitors who sabotaged his plans. He blamed the troops for not fighting hard enough. He blamed reality itself for refusing to conform to his vision. What Hitler said when the invasion could no longer be reversed was this: "It is not my fault." And he kept saying it in 1,000 different ways until he put a pistol in his mouth on April 30th, 1945, and silenced himself forever.